Section 10.4b is about the discriminant. In a quadratic formula, or in the quadratic formula, the expression that's under the radical sign, this part, is called the discriminant. It's a special part of the formula, and it can tell us a lot of information about how many solutions we're going to have. This table shows that. If you look at this quadratic formula, you'll notice that the discriminant here is a negative number. When that's the case, when the discriminant is negative, then you know that you're going to have no solutions or no roots. Likewise, when your discriminant is 0, notice in this example the discriminant, the part that's under the radical sign, is a 0, then you're going to have one solution. In this case, it's -3. And then the last one, if your discriminant is a positive number, then you're going to have two solutions. Now, in the last video, we had two examples where there was two solutions and one example where there was no solutions. We didn't have an example of 0. Now, this line of the table shows us that there's three possible solutions if you were to graph parabolas. You can have a parabola that touches the x-axis nowhere. You could have a parabola that touches the x-axis in one spot, or you could have a parabola that touches it in two spots. And the discriminant doesn't tell you how to graph, but it will tell you how many solutions or roots you're going to have. And then down here, this line actually gives you the number of roots. Here are some examples where we have to state the value of the discriminant and then tell how many roots the equation is going to have. Well, here's a reminder of what the discriminant is. In this problem, I'm going to plug my b in, which is a 5, my a, which is a 1, and my c, which is -6. And let's see what the value is. 5 squared is 25. 4 times 6 is 24. Negative times a negative is a positive. So in this case, my discriminant is a positive 49. Now, what does that mean? Go back to the table. When the discriminant is positive, there are two roots. In our second example, the b in this one is an 8. The a is a 1. C is 16. 8 squared is 64. And 4 times 16 is 64 also with a negative. 64 minus 64 is 0. So my value of the discriminant is 0. What does that mean? If the discriminant is 0, then I will have one root. That means I'll have one solution if I plug the values into the quadratic formula. Last example, I want to make sure it's equal to 0. So I will add 50 to both sides, because you want to do that to get your a, b, and c. In this one, my b is a 1. 4 times a, which is a 2, and a c, which is a 50. 1 squared is 1. 4 times 50 is 200, times 2 is 400. So we end up with -399. That's the value of our discriminant. And what does that mean? If the discriminant is negative, there are no solutions or no roots. So the discriminant simply tells us how many solutions we're going to have. If we actually want to find those solutions, well, then we have to plug these values into the quadratic formula to find the solutions.